welcome to another episode of Mental Health Talk with an open panel. Today I have Lisa with me as my guest. She's awesome. Make sure that you put your guys' links in chat so people can subscribe to you.
Okay.
But welcome. We have a lot of people, it looks like, in chat. So let's welcome everybody. We have Alexis. Welcome. Deep Fried Deals. Hello. Denise, much love, my friend. Oop, I better let me move my camera down a little bit so y'all can see my hands. Much love, everybody. Okay, let's see. Sarah loves to save money. Welcome. And I think that's everybody other than you said hello in chat. So I have the link to StreamYard in chat for anybody who would like to come on and discuss with us, anything that's going on with their mental health, if they know somebody who struggles with mental health, that kind of thing. So that's pretty much what this is every Saturday, is to talk with you about the things that we struggle with. And if you want to share your story, you are more than welcome. My channel is a safe zone. You do not have to worry about being judged here, because most of the people that are here either support somebody who has mental health or they struggle with it themselves. And so with that, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Lisa?
Sure. Let me get this over here. Hold on just a second. There we go. So I can see myself. So that way I'm not looking that way, and I should be looking this way. I'm Lisa with a couple of pickers. Rob is my co-part. We sell on eBay and everything, but I'm here because I found Dez's channel. Actually, I found out about it in chat. Somebody talked about your channel, that it was a great place for people that have mental health issues to talk about, or like Des says, you don't even have to have them. You can have somebody in your family. You can be a caregiver. You can be a spouse. With all the mental health issues that are going on these days, I honestly think there's more people that deal with issues than there are that don't. Mm-hmm. And some people aren't even aware that they have issues, or may not even be aware. And I think that this is a great place too, where maybe like Des said, it's a safe place to talk about maybe your issues, but also, if you have somebody in your life. And let me just say, I struggle from mental health issues. I was diagnosed with chronic depression in 2004. I had what they used to call a total mental breakdown, where I was totally non-functional. Didn't get out of bed, couldn't do anything. And I've been in and out of therapy. I've been in and out of medications. I've been to all kind of different doctors. I've tried holistic approaches. I've tried just about a little bit of everything for the last 16 years, until I'm finally at a place where I'm at peace with myself. And I've learned for the most part to how to handle my issues. But I do feel sorry for like my husband, because he knew going in, I was honest with him going in about it. But until you live with a person that has mental health issues, you really can't appreciate what it's like. Because even though I can deal with my issues, I still have days or maybe not a day, but I have times where, it gets pretty dark, and sometimes he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to say. And we've been together, I need him here to tell me, 12 or 13 years. So, I mean, he's been with me, for a long haul on this. So, but it still doesn't make it. In fact, I was diagnosed the year before I met him. Yeah. Ooh, wow. It still doesn't make it any easier on him. And that's the one thing that I like. I like the fact that, it's a place where we can talk about it, and he's listening. And I like for him to listen, because sometimes I think it helps him understand more about it, that it's not him. Because I think sometimes spouses and other people in their life feel like they cause your issues. they triggered your issues, and it's for
Yeah.
me, at least for me, it's not him.
Right.
There's so many other triggers out there,
Yeah.
and when things happen, he almost becomes depressed because he's so worried about me. And that's the one thing I think for me, that's the hardest thing I'm dealing with now, is I just feel like I I put a lot on him sometimes, and I hate that, you know.
And I feel the same way with Tommy. It is so crazy how people who struggle with it, who have partners that do not struggle with it, how much we feel guilty
Yes.
for putting all of that on them.
Mm-hmm.
When Tommy and I got together, we're going on about 7 or 8 years. He might be in chat. Honey, how long have we been together?
I'm
I
not
think
the only one.
you're not the only one. Real quick, welcome Ciosa Sales and Ordy. Oh, Ordy. I hope I didn't kill it. I do apologize, but welcome, welcome. Real quick, too, I want to do a disclaimer. We are not doctors and we are not counselors. We are people who are, struggle every day with mental health. And so, with that, we just want you guys to know that you're not alone.
Yep.
So, oh, we have a knock at the door. Hello, dear.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. We have another Lisa on the panel.
You can never have too many Lisas.
I know my aunt. I have an aunt named Lisa, and she is awesome, awesome, awesome. And so I love the name Lisa. But real quick, so when Tommy and I got together, he didn't. He'd never been with anybody like me who had mental health issues, right. And so he's done a lot of research since he's been with me. And so I actually want to do a Saturday where we bring on spouses.
Yay,
who,
good.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
Yeah, that have a partner that deals with mental health issues, and I want them to express how they feel without fear of being yelled at, or just give the other aspect and other side of what mental health can do, cause stuff like that. Because I will tell you, Tommy and I were talking about this. It was actually his idea. I was thinking about it, but I wasn't sure how to go about doing that. So he was like, I'll be on there. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're going to air out some dirty secrets. I already know this.
Well, that's wonderful. Cause I even suggested to Rob, so maybe Tommy can do a show for a support group for, partners and spouses. So, but Rob doesn't say many words, but maybe if Tommy's on there and he can take the lead, Rob at least will be nodding, so.
Right. I do that a lot.
He can
I really
nod
do.
in agreement. So.
Right. And I want him to come on, the show on Saturday, or the live on Saturday. I really don't want to call it a show because, this is more of to help others and to know that, and I know I keep repeating myself, but, I want the people to know they're not alone and they don't have to do it by themselves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what I'm trying to focus on. And so having spouses on that have to, deal with the everyday thing that their spouse goes through with mental health, I think that would be a good aspect. And what's the word I'm looking for? A good insight to all of that. And so, I mean, a lot of times you go to a counselor and they're like, yeah, and they're usually, got their notebook and they got their pen and they're just jotting notes down. But a lot of them don't know what you're going through. And so, or what the spouse is going through. And so with that, here we are. So anyway, okay, now that my story is over, or my talking's over, how are you doing, Ciosa Sales? Why don't you introduce yourself and make sure you put your link in chat or say hi to everybody.
Well, hi. I can't put my link because I'm using my phone because I for some reason I can't get my internet to work for my computer.
Okay.
But my name's Lisa, Ciosa Cells, and I personally have borderline personality disorder. I was misdiagnosed when I was a lot younger as bipolar, and so I didn't get my diagnosis till, let's see, it was 2004, I think.
Oh,
So
wow.
at that point, I was already 24,
Mhm.
and I was married, and I had a kid, and that's how my diagnosis came about. Actually, is because my husband and I were having so many problems, um, and I ended up not allowing myself to be medicated until probably 2 years ago. So
Mm.
it was living with that, learning about it, understanding what I was going through, but never actually allowing myself to be medicated because I was so scared of medication.
Yep.
I had a cousin that had they tried to medicate her for mental health issues, and they just kept piling medication on after
Mhm.
medication because she would have, an adverse reaction to one, and so instead of figuring it out, they just give her another one to stop that, and she ended up passing away. Um, and it scared me so bad that I was like, I'd rather live with this than, have that kind of situation happen. But so for about 2 years, I've been medicated, and it's the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, what exactly is that for people who don't know what you're diagnosed with? Could you explain it a little bit? Because I'm not sure what it is either.
Borderline personality disorder is a personality disorder, and it's kind of a mix between, like, if you want to think about how it affects you, it's almost a mix of PTSD plus depression plus anxiety, all bundled into crazy little person. There are a lot of good and bad days. Bad can be really, really bad. There's actually studies that 1% of people with borderline personality disorder commit suicide, medicated or unmedicated. Um, and there's just a lot, like you were talking about, families having to deal with things. Um, there's a lot of literature out there for families, and I know that it has affected my son um, a lot.
Mhm.
Trying to you don't know who mom's going to be because it's where bipolar is a chemical, BPD is a personality disorder. So it is not anything that can actually be medicated. You can just medicate the symptoms. And when people talk about, trigger warnings and things like that,
Mhm.
that's your life. Like, your life is literally from living from one trigger to another. I could be so depressed and, like, literally suicidal one moment because of something that happened, and then something good happens, and 10 seconds later I'm on top of the world. So there's no regulation whatsoever in moods.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm
And the
glad
medic.
you meant. I'm sorry, Des. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. I was just going to ask this another question, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm so glad you mentioned children, because when I had my issue, well, I mean, I say issue, break. Like I said, I don't know what they call. They don't usually they don't call it a mental breakdown now. I forget what the term they use, but honestly, that's what I call it, because it was totally in bed, non-functional.
Mhm.
But my children were high school and middle school age, and it did affect them terribly. And I know one of my sons is really, he had anger. I actually put him in therapy to try and help him because he had anger about it. And sometimes, like again, I've been on for 16 years, so I have tried different meds. And at one point, like you said, if you're taking one med, it may give you a symptom. Like I had insomnia, so they gave me sleeping pills. Well, then I was real drowsy in the morning, so then they gave me something to take in the morning. So you
Mhm.
just get into this cycle where you're taking all of these drugs. And he would get very frustrated with it because of some days, I couldn't even carry on a conversation. My speech would be slurred, and he got angry and he lashed out, and he used to call them crazy pills. Why don't you just take your crazy pills? Which again, that's a child, but I know that he was hurt by that. I mean, and of course then that hurts me because, you know, he says something like that. So, you know, there's so many dynamics that go into it that I think people that don't live with it really don't understand. It's not just you, it's not just your spouse, but I'm so glad you said that. It also affects your children.
Yeah, and Jeremy, because of, like I said, it's such a knee-jerk reaction. I think someone put it best as saying that borderline personality disorder is like living with third-degree burns on your emotions.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
everything that you feel so big and so strongly, good, bad, and indifferent. So Jeremy is actually right now, he's dealing with depression, and we're going through a lot of just working through what he had to deal with growing up with a mom who was like that. So I mean, for a normal person's kid, you lose your glasses and it's like, okay, we got to find your glasses. You know, for Jeremy, you lose your glasses, and I mean, I could go off the deep end just screaming, and I knew from the beginning that my emotions were kind of, you know, we'll say kind of unstable, to be nice. So I decided in the very beginning, right when I had him, that there would be no physical punishment. I've never spanked him, nothing like that, because I knew that there was a possibility that I couldn't control myself. So I just never let that be an option.
That's very relatable. I have two children, and I know that for a long time, I would yell at them and I couldn't figure out why I was yelling at them. And um, so me and my daughter's relationship, it's pretty strained. Um, and I'm working on it, and she's working on it. And now that I'm on this new round of medication, it's getting better. Although now with being on it for as long as I have, I'm starting to get like feel like I'm reverting back and it's like no longer working. And so when I go back to my doctor,
Yeah.
I got to let her know that. But then they added another medication because I have a lot of pain from when I had my surgery back in May. And it's like it piles on, piles on. When Tommy and I actually got together, I believe I was on like 28 different meds. Tommy, do you remember how many meds I was on? I
Wow.
was on 28 different meds a day. And, because I would have this medication for this and that medication for that. And then these two medications were to counteract this other medication. And then come to find out that I had probably about 15 medications that were not supposed to be taken together.
Mm.
And if it wasn't for Tommy, I would have never known. And I would have just got more and more sick. And um, I'm very thankful that that part of my life is done. And I don't have to take that many medications. Um, but it took me a long time to come to terms with, yes, I need the medication. I felt like I had failed, and it was the most devastating feeling I could ever have because I was like, I can do this. I don't need the medication. And then when it got to the point where um, I knew there was a problem and I could no longer control it, and I had to break down and go to the doctor. I did. I felt like I had fallen off a very high cliff and there was no end to it. And I still to this day feel like I failed because I couldn't control it.
That, I think we all go through that, Des. You get to a point where you think that I got this.
Mhm.
And then if you stop taking the meds, you know, your symptoms are going to come back and you think that, okay, I failed because I have to take medication. I had to resolve that for myself. That was a hard, pardon the expression, pill to swallow because, you know, when and again, meds have, especially with the medications that we take. I know when I first started taking meds in 2004, it was literally like somebody turned a light switch on in my head. It was that good. It really helped, but it only had a life of maybe 2 to 3 years, and then it didn't work as well. and they increase the dose. And then you get to the fact where you're maxed out on that dose. And then what do? You have to go to something else. And then they start combining things. And then, and it just feels like, oh my God, I'm broken. I'm never going to get fixed, because we all think, I think people think sometimes with medication, you take it, it's not something you take every day. You take it, you get better, and then you don't take meds anymore. But with mental health, it is something I have finally, after all these years, come to the fact that this is what I need to function. This is what I need to be healthy and happy. And I don't give a crap who thinks what or thinks anything about it. It's what I think about myself and how I have to be the person that I want to be. And I know if I don't take my meds, and I've done that before, I would have been one of those persons that said, I'm going to quit. I can beat this. I'm just going to quit. And, and then I just turn into just a big blubbering mess, that I can't function. It goes all back into that. And I went to I had to go to a new doctor one time, and she said, oh, you're just here for pills. And I thought, you don't know anything about me. It's not about the pills. It's about just being able to function. I can't even function. So needless to say, I did not go back and see that doctor again. But, then once I got back on my meds, and then I was fine again. But, that's something I battled over the 16 years that I've been on meds, is, keep thinking in my head and listening to people, because people will say, just snap out of it. How many times have we all heard that freaking phrase that I just like to go to people's throats with it? Just snap out of it. Right. Oh, gee, I never thought about that,
And that's the thing, people who don't struggle, they think that it's something that you can control. It's something that you can say, oh, well, I'm okay today. I can control it today. And then tomorrow, the same thing happens. And a lot of times what we do is now for me personally, I can't really speak for everybody else, but for me, I put everything in a bottle, and I kind of like tamper it down, and then I put the lid on, and I don't want to deal with it. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, the lid no longer can hold anymore, and you just kind of blow up, and you don't even, your mind is so intertwined and twisted and confused that you can't even really explain what that last part was that made the bottle finally just go poof.
I'm glad you said that, Des, because that's how my doctor the first psychiatrist I ever saw, that she explained it. She said you compartmentalize everything. You put it behind a door in your brain, and you shut the door, and you just put it away, and you don't deal with it, and you just leave it there. And then it just keeps going and going until, like you said, the straw that breaks the camel's back might be something so minuscule and so, minute that who would think, but that's what does it. And she said, that's what happened to me. She said, literally all your doors blew open at the same time. All that flooded into your brain, and your brain literally shut down because it couldn't deal with it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I've had that happen too, Hello, Alexis. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
You guys can't hear me, right? I couldn't remember if I turned it on or off my little mic. I was told that I'm a lot crispier sounding with the headphones on, but I feel like an airplane director flyer person. So
I'm right there with you, Des.
All right. Woohoo. I got green. She's got pink. Although my daughter likes to try to steal my headphones when I don't have them put away. But welcome. You want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
My name's Alexis, and in this particular group, I will stick to, or try to stick to, the subject at hand. I am a reseller by trade, and that's how I found Des, is through Tommy. And I'm so very grateful that I did. Excuse me, I haven't slept in over 24 hours right now, so I'm a little rough around the edges. Please excuse me. But to add on to the very end of what you ladies were just talking about, is like, it's like, for me, this is the analogy I've always used, is it's like splinters under the fingernails. There's not one main thing. It's never one main thing. At least it isn't for me. It's more of a slow Chinese water torture. Next thing you know, you just can't ignore it anymore, and it's just like, that's it. I and you try to you live in a sense of denial
Mhm.
where it's I'm okay. I'm okay. I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this until you realize, oh well, maybe I can't.
Yep. When that bottle explodes, I feel sorry for people around me, and um, because you tend to lash out at the people that are closest to you,
Right.
and you don't try to, and the people that you're really mad at, or the situation that you're truly mad at, it gets misconstrued and twisted, and you
Right.
know we were it's funny because I went to trauma informed parenting classes. It was something that I chose to do. And for a situation I'll talk about probably later on, uh, as this goes on. But so I chose to take these parenting classes. I chose to do trauma informed parenting classes. I chose to do a couple other classes. Um, and I'm certified in all of this stuff. I got little diplomas and stuff for it. But,
Cool.
you know, they were explaining that your brain is a bunch of wires. And sometimes the wires will break and connect to the wrong spot that they're supposed to be in. And so you just have to learn to disconnect that wire that's not supposed to be there and get it back to the spot that it's supposed to be. And I'm like, we're talking electronics. My brain hurts. You
Yeah.
know, I'm
Right.
like, this is crazy. But then, like you were saying before, where you put everything in little bottles, it's like, to me, I see my brain as a bunch of filing cabinets that are so not filed correctly. you know,
Right.
and so
Absolutely.
it's frustrating sometimes, and I feel sorry for people that are next to me when that bottle breaks, because I don't know how I'm going to react to that person, regardless of how much I love that person. When that happens, I can't, 9 times out of 10, I can't control how it comes out.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so a lot of times it's not the person's fault, it's something that's going on with me. And they always say too that you take things out on the people that you love,
Hmm.
and so they get the blunt of it. And I feel bad for Tommy. I feel bad for my children. And I know I am a good mom. I know I'm a good woman. I know I'm a good person. I know
Right.
I'm good to Tommy. But then you have the other side where that overshadows how you are, so it covers it. It's like walking into mist
Hmm.
or to fog.
Yeah.
Can't
That's
see
that's part
yourself.
of the illness in itself, though.
Right. And so when you walk in there or walk into the fog, you can't see anything around you. Nothing at all. So nothing makes sense. You don't know which direction to go. You don't know how to get out of it. And as much as um, hello, Tommy Bernard. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Tracy. Did you see Tommy's comment?
I saw that.
I
Feel
just
bad for
saw it.
Tracy.
You made me lose my train of thought.
We all take it out on Tommy. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
that comment totally made me lose train of thought.
Ooh, look, a squirrel.
Holy cow. Oh, what was I saying now? See, and this is another thing I have. If my squirrel falls off out of the tree, I'm done. I'm done.
Absolutely.
I
Yep.
I think you know what you part of what you're saying is we all feel like at times that all our loved ones around us would be better off without us in their lives because
Yep.
Oh yeah.
of what we bring to the table. I mean, I know that Rob adores me and we have a great relationship, but there's times when I said to him, why did you sign up for this? Why would you have even wanted to get involved with
Yeah.
this? You should, because I honestly, before we got married, I told him, I said, if you, I'm just laying everything out for you. And if you don't want to, I'm not going to think worse of you to turn around and not go through with the marriage. You know, go have a different life because it's going to be different. You know, and of course he married me for whatever reason. So, you know, I always tell him now he has nobody to blame but himself.
Right. Hello, David. Welcome.
Good
Thanks
to
very much,
see
yeah.
you.
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, just wanted to pop in for a few minutes, say hello to everybody.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Anytime.
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, certainly can. Yeah, so hello everybody. My name's David, also known as David M, the car boot picker on YouTube. I am a part-time reseller, so I am, and I have a full-time job. I work as a cleaner in a nursing home, working full-time hours. So I only do reselling part-time on the side. For me, I don't treat it as a business. It's just an interest on the side. And I also like to do live trivia games. And I've started doing travel vlogs, which I put one out yesterday when I went to Belfast Shipyard. And I also like to sell at the car boot sales, which you would call in the States the flea market as well. So I know Lisa knows about that because she was talking to Jimmy about this. So that's basically what I like to do, just a mixture of everything. So
Well, thank you for joining us.
oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. I am dropping your link in chat now for anybody who is not showing love to your channel. Please head over there and show love.
Absolutely.
And also in chat, please share your channels. Let's get all the love going on. That way, it's
You
going
see,
around. Yeah, I had a
Des,
brain
you
fart.
see that Tommy put in there that laughter is the best remedy. And I think that's very true a lot of times. And if you notice Rob and I's channel, I deal with a lot of stuff through humor. You know, you can disguise a lot in humor. But that's how I have been able, to me, I try not to take life so seriously. That's been a big thing for me. If I have a bad day now, I try not to focus on you know that I know it's not the end of the world for a bad day. You know, I try to focus on that, and I try to deal with everything with a laugh because you know, because my alternative is if I'm not laughing, I'm crying. So
Absolutely.
I'd much rather laugh through things than cry about it.
Yeah, I got pretty blessed with Tommy because he's such a goofball. And now what I'm actually doing these little clips, like when he's being goofy, I'm recording him so I can put a collage of all the goofy things that he does and put it up on YouTube. And yeah, some of them probably won't be very friendly for YouTube, but you know what? That's okay.
That's okay. That's why they have those restrictions.
Yeah, you know, and he's so funny. Like this morning, Tommy, I know you're watching. Tommy 2.0. Let me clear this up. Tommy 2.0, I know you're watching. And so this morning I was in the shower and I had music playing and he came in and he started dancing and singing and changing some of the words to the music or to the song, right? And then he goes to turn around. And so our bathroom is pretty small and we have a squatty potty. And I got it at the Benz. I thought it was cool. And so I got one. Tommy hates it, but
I want one.
he goes to turn around and he almost flipped over the squatty potty next to the toilet because he was being so silly. Yes, I told your secret from this morning. And so it was just, it cracked me up And then he takes my phone and starts changing my music. Okay. And I'm like listening to all these, I don't, what are they called? They're like spoof videos, music videos. I can't think of the word they're called now. Um, oh crud, I can't think of what the word is. Um, and so anyway, um, so he's playing these different types of songs, and then all of a sudden he throws Eminem in, and I'm like, I can't keep up with your songs. Put my music back on, and so yeah. It was a pretty funny morning, and the other day, he was doing silly things, and so I have some recordings, a little bit of recordings here and there. Parody,
Wow.
thank you, Tommy B, thank you. Um, and so it's it's a wild house or wild time in our house. And a lot of times, like when I first started my channel and Tommy would come on or he would do something on his channel, people thought he was very serious, very kind of intimidating. Okay, so if you go back to earlier videos, you'll see, and I'm like, you know what? People are scared of you. He's like, why? And I'm like, just because you just look so intimidating. He's like, but I'm not. And I'm like, well, you may not be, but that's what people probably think. So I put up a video of him testing my webcam. And I have so many people watching that, cracking up. That's what broke the ice, so that people knew that he wasn't always serious. And so it's because I have him in my life and all the silly things that he does, it helps me. He's like the light in my storm. As long as he has that light on, I can get through it. It just may take me a short time, but I always end up coming out at the end where there's light. And I love that about him.
Here,
But we
Yeah.
have but we have some pretty bad moments too.
sure. I was going to say, Des, just to help Tommy out today with, you told on him. I'll tell something about Rob. One of the things he does to me is he flashes me. There you go.
Oh, oh,
But
oh,
thing,
Tommy,
though,
can I please?
There you go.
Please?
I'm looking over at his face. He's remaining stoic, but I'm sure he's not very happy that I just.
Well, then
no,
Tommy,
just wait. In 10 seconds, he's going to flash you while you're on a live. You have to be serious about it.
Well,
You have to pretend it's not happening.
The joke is he wearing pants? Because half the time he doesn't wear pants, so it just makes it easier to flash.
Trust you to say that, Lisa.
Tommy
Well,
2.0, I'm throwing you out there now so that your husband is in my
But
Tommy.
I think we need that. Like when you have depression and when you have all those the mental health issues, you need someone in your life to be the comic relief.
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And I deal with dissociation, so I will not be mentally there.
Mhm.
And walking through a store, Dusty's running down the aisles dancing, and it's just kind of it brings you back to reality,
Absolutely.
So my Tommy, the kids will be upstairs cleaning their room on their tablet or computer or whatever, and he'll look around, right? Because he wears sweatpants a lot of times, and he'll drop his sweatpants down so his butt's hanging out, and he'll turn around and start dancing at me until I notice. And I'm like, I can so not put that on YouTube.
Well, you're not feeling pressure.
He
No, you
doesn't,
just need to do the edit with a little smiley face.
and it's so fun. I know we're probably gonna get yelled at after the live,
Oh, I am too,
but
don't worry.
Why'd you do that for?
but I mean, my most of my adult life has been in darkness, and so with him doing random things like that, it's crazy. I went to Florida 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago now, because my Nana was in respite. And so I spent the last few days she had with us, with her. I come back from Florida, okay? We go to the grocery store. And this is probably not appropriate for YouTube, but he goes and takes squash and a cucumber. and
Oh my God.
and as
no.
you can imagine what he did with it. And he puts it in the middle of the aisle on the shelf. And now there's nothing above the shelf, okay? It's a shorter shelf, right? He puts it in the middle and walks away like nothing happened. And you've got these big squashes like next to each other and this huge one like this. And this old lady, I thought she was about ready to fall over laughing. And I'm like, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. I'm like, you really did that? He's like, well, I missed you. I'm like, really?
That's funny.
I mean, really, in the grocery store, really, you're gonna do something like that? And so, but yeah, I mean, and now he's got our daughter. This has nothing to do with this part. So he has our daughter. When we go to Walmart, we actually had a lady standing in the line next to us, was charging him. Because, well, they were standing in line. I went to go put the cart back, and he pretended like he punched her in the stomach, right, through her coat. And she went, oh, and she threw herself down on the ground, right? Acted like she was crying. And this big woman started charging Tommy, and Jaslyn jumps up, and she starts laughing. They were playing. He never hit her or anything. He was just pretending, doing that play thing. I don't know how to explain it, but he never hit her. But this woman was convinced that Tommy had just punched her in the stomach.
Oh God.
And she fell on the ground, and they were laughing. And then she looked, and she was like, she rolled her eyes and was so mad. And I was like, I would be mad too. I come back and I'm like, what is going on? So Tommy tells me, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's real good. Try to get the cops call on us when we're trying to check out for grocery shopping.
Yes, please.
That's okay. We were in a parking lot, and I was driving, and I went to pull forward, and Rob threw himself up on my hood like I hit him. And he started yelling, and somebody got out and started taking my tag number and everything. And I'm like, no, I didn't hit him. That's my goofy husband.
Oh my God.
He threw himself up there and I'm like, he hit me. I didn't hit him, but he made it look like he rolled up on the hood,
Oh.
Yeah, Tommy and Jasmine were walking in the parking lot at Walmart, okay? And it was wintertime, and they were holding hands because she was a little bit smaller. They're crossing the street, right? And he just randomly goes, whap! And the sleeve of her jacket went cross. Like, it was not supposed to have been that way. I panicked. A car that was pulling out almost hit another car. And here her hand was down in her coat. And I'm like, you guys got to be careful. You're going to cause a bad accident or you're going to get arrested.
Oh my Lord.
That's what they do. They do silly things like that. As much as it sounds horrible, it's actually funny.
Yeah.
And scary at the same time. But the thing is, I am so thankful that Jaslyn has all Tommy. I mean, she is a mini-me of Tommy. And so I am really thankful that she doesn't have to suffer like I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
She just deals with having a mother that has these things going on. And so, I think she's going to be an amazing adult. I really do. Because she has the 100% positivity from Tommy to counteract the crazy that I have.
That sounds like my parents.
So I don't know. I know I just went way off of topic, so I do apologize.
All right. I started it with the flashing, and you just took it from there, Des. That's all right.
I do want to say, if Lisa, if you're still listening, I fully understand where you're coming from, because my primary diagnosis is DID, which
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with, probably, and it's debilitating at times, and that's the primary reason that I'm going to file for SSDI right now. And I had you guys praying for me the other day because I had to go to talk to the lawyer because I've been denied twice, because they're saying, well, we're not denying that you're disabled, we're just denying that you're going to be disabled for longer than a year, which is counterintuitive, because this isn't something that just disappears.
Right.
Even with intensive therapy and proper medication to treat the symptoms, you still have no baseline control over when there's a flip.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love it if I could have the opportunity to reach out to you on either Instagram or on Facebook. I don't know if we're friends on either, but that I learning that about you. You're the only other person that I've ever come across that I've met that has had a similar diagnosis, that would understand on that level.
Right. Oh yeah, reach out to me. I'm Lisa Gonzalez on Facebook.
Gonzalez
Yep.
on Facebook. I am
Mhm.
on it. OLD.
I miss. Oh, actually, I think I'm Lisa
Yeah.
Marie Gonzalez.
Is there a space? Oh, wait, I
Yes.
see you right there.
Mama, I don't think
Uh,
that's a real diagnosis.
Mine is too.
you're not old until you're dead. That's my opinion.
Now,
Exactly. That is not a diagnosis.
now I need to ask you guys, because I know one of the ways that I deal with things sometimes is I shop, which hence helps me as a reseller, but also helps to explain why our garage looks the way it does. So I just
Yeah.
wonder if does anybody else can. I mean, that used to, if I was really depressed, I could go out and shop, and it made me feel better. I'm just wondering if anybody else has that same issue.
Here,
Yes.
here.
I would say, Lisa, since I started doing my travel vlogs yesterday, that's changed things for me. I felt even when I was going out filming and all yesterday,
Mhm.
I felt a lot better doing that, and I felt just as if I was able to got me out of the house and let me start thinking about different things, positive
Mhm.
things. So I found doing travel vlogs has changed things for me now. So I'm so glad I started doing that as well.
See, that was another issue for me. I could go months and never leave the house. That was a big one, where especially since Rob and I live over here, and of course, we work in our home, so we don't have to go anywhere. And a lot of times the only place we need to go would be the post office or the grocery store. And he always would do that. And he would look up sometimes and he'd say, "How long has it been since you've been out of the house?" And I'd sit there and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's been like almost 3 weeks, and I haven't even stepped foot out of the house. I mean, not even to the porch." And that's one thing I have to be mindful of now, is I try to find things, David, like I try to find things that motivate me to get out of the house, because I find I feel better when I get out there and you get sunshine. I live in Florida, for God's sakes, and I say pin up in the house, you get the air, I like to talk to people. Imagine that, guys. I like to talk. So when I go places, I like to talk. Rob will be done with whatever he's doing, and I've talked to 20 people in the grocery store that I don't know. He's like, "I didn't know you know them." I have no idea who they are. But that's my issue, is I have to force myself sometimes to go out. It just, I don't know. I guess it's just something you build in, that your home is your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And there's not going to be anything here that you can't deal with, because and when you step out in the big bright world out there, you never know what you're going to get.
Right. Real quick, Mama says she loves your accent, David. You gotta tell her
All
where you're
right.
from.
Yes, I'm from Northern Ireland.
Yes, I second that opinion.
I love the Irish accent. I love the way they talk. It's amazing. I actually
Absolutely.
found David. Where did I run into you? I don't remember where I ran
Was it
into you.
Stephen Staff this?
No, I think it was somebody else's chat. I'm trying to think of. Oh, I
That's a
can't
long
think
time ago
back.
now, isn't it?
It's been I've known you for so long. Like
So
I followed
that's
you.
probably over 2 years ago now, Des, would you believe it or not?
Close to it, I think.
Must
Yeah.
be, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't
because I
remember.
yeah, because I was a follower before I became a YouTuber.
Mhm.
And so I followed on my Destiny page, my real life page is as I call it, my real life YouTube one, but I didn't have any content. I didn't even know that you could be a YouTuber then. And I was just like, oh, how are they doing this? And then when I became the Shamrock Pixie, and I started that channel or this channel, you know, a lot of people that I would talk to in chats, my Destiny account had no idea who I was. And so I was like, I'm Destiny. It's
It's really
me.
me. Really me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be about 2 years, I think. Yeah.
Must be because how I started was I used to follow a guy called Chris Liquidation Rates, Chris Zeros.
That's where I met you
And you
from.
met me there, and he used
Yep.
to do a lot of liquidation stuff. And then he interviewed Stephen Steff one time, and then I found Stephen Steff through him. And then I got to know everybody else in the chat here, like Tracy and Ainsley. I met everybody else, and loads more other people. And then now, not so long ago, I've met Lisa and Rob, brilliant people, really funny, and really enjoy watching your show. And even if I can't be there, I enjoy watching on the replay. Alexis, I found Alexis recently there as well.
Thank you.
So, and Joseph Sells, I've met her before, and so many other people. So it's always great to see new people, hear about the new backgrounds, and I knew everybody would like my accent. I knew that was going to be a win-win.
The Irish accent, I actually came across as the Irish accent is one of the top accents that people fall in love with.
Well,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
And
I always say,
Irish are good people.
I always say, David, people listen to me for my accent.
right? It's awesome. It's
You
awesome.
wouldn't know it, but I'm about as Irish as they come. My father is 100% Irish. My mother is uh 3/4 Puerto Rican and a quarter English. So it's
That's
like
awesome.
Okay.
I'm like right up there, but the last name is what gives it away. People look at me and they're like, "You're not Irish." I'm like, "Yes, I am. My last name is McGinn."
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I have a lot of Irish, a lot of Irish. And so before I found out that I had Irish blood, I was always dreaming of Ireland, and I was always like, I didn't exactly know where the place was or where, what it was called, but I was always talking about Ireland when I was little and tell my mom about my dreams and stuff like that. But I was drawn. I was so drawn before I even knew. And when I found out, I was like, that's why I love Ireland so much. It's where I came from, my blood came from. And I mean, I do. I have tattoos.
See that?
90% of my tattoos are Irish related. And so I have a couple that have to get fixed, but until I'm cleared to get tattoos again, I can't have them fixed. So, like the stars going up my leg, it's supposed to have Celtic designs going through it. And then I have a triquetra on my back. And so, yeah, I got my Celtic cross here, and so yeah, I love anything and everything to do with Ireland. And my daughter actually said that when she becomes rich and famous, she's buying me a castle in Ireland.
Oh
And
yeah,
I was
go
like,
for it.
yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
a
then I
good
was like,
girl.
wait, it has to be a fully functioning castle, not one of the ruins, because she would be a smarty pants
yeah.
and buy me a castle that was just a wall or something. Well, it was a castle,
Yep.
but it's a laugh,
It's a fixer-upper.
Yeah, it's a fixer-upper, and it has some good bones. Just needs some more bones to start.
There you go.
I see Susie in it to flip it. It says, I see David in a lot of chats. He's always says hi, so nice. Thanks very much, Susie. I really appreciate you saying that. I really do. And I see Lisa saying there to Tracy, my husband always asks, do you have to talk to everybody? And then Lisa's saying, yeah, Tracy, we are really a lot alike.
Yep.
That's very true, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. The more that I'm around, well, Tracy was one of the first people that came into our chat, and it was funny because then Tommy came in a while later, and she was like, darn, said she was disappointed because she liked having us to herself, which I thought was funny. And I started watching her, and it's like I can relate to so much, and that's what I love about YouTube is you find people that we would have never come across each other in a normal life. I mean, first of all, I don't go outside the door, so how would I meet somebody in Texas,
Right.
And, being exposed to everybody has just been amazing. And then like David, I met you, and I have been, Tracy and Tommy have encouraged, to expand your horizons. And I watch a lot of the UK resellers now and their channels. And I have a couple other in Ireland that I watch, and I have in Australia, of course. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Because we all deal with a lot of the same issues, not just in the reselling, but in life. It's just, a lot of it's the same. And I think that is so helpful in my life to see that we're really not alone. We feel alone, but we're really not. We're all dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why, Lisa, I want to join tonight, because I agree with everything you all say, and I have similar problems to yourselves. So it's nice to be able to come on to a show like Destiny's here, an open panel, and be able to express it freely to everybody without being afraid to talk about it, which is where I used to be, but now I'm not.
Right.
Oh, me too. I was so embarrassed because I thought it was something I did, that it was my fault. And it's taken a long time. And, even I've been through many therapists, and I'm very open about talking about that. I made a couple of my therapists cry. How does that feel when you're telling, and my life is so horrible, you're going to cry. I mean, I appreciate the sympathy, but come on. I mean, I'm thinking, my God, I must be awful if I make you cry. And, it took a long time to find the right meds, the right therapist, and everything to work through everything and not feel like this was my fault, because I think, we take on a lot of that stuff. That's part of the reason, a symptom of it is that we take on a lot of things as that it's our fault, and it's not. I tried to please everybody. I was a big people pleaser. I tried to be everything everybody wanted me to be, and I was not true to myself. And I thought I was doing the right thing when I ended up almost killing myself. I mean, to the point where you do have suicidal thoughts because you're literally so unhappy. But to the world, you're the happiest person in the world, and you're the best person in the world because you're jumping through all these hoops that everybody wants you to, and you're absolutely miserable inside.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny because people who have situations like us seem to be the happiest people. Like people would never imagine.
Yes.
Like we're the ones that are out there being the quote unquote social butterfly. I joke around that I am the most antisocial social butterfly you've ever met.
Because we are so used to hiding it. That's what I think it is, because it's such a social stigma, or it has been for a long time. Nobody wanted to admit that you had a mental health issue because, oh my God, they're going to cart you off to the loony bin. How many times have we heard, and that's the loony bin, I mean, that's just what you feel like, that, oh my God, I'm going to end up getting locked up. And this is, I used to go to my therapist, and for the longest time, I never had suicidal thoughts. I really have not dealt a lot with that, but I had homicidal thoughts, and that only because Destiny, we can talk about this some other time, but I come from an abusive background with my first husband. So when I was going through therapy, and to admit that, and when I said that, she said, "Oh, that's fine. That's normal." I thought, "Oh my God." I thought that I was totally nuts because I used to think, I mean, that's terrible, guys. But yeah, I mean, I used to have thoughts like that. And I used to think that was horrible, but she's like, "No, that's totally normal to think that." I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. That's
Yeah. Well, when you have that kind of turmoil within yourself, it has to be manifested within, it has to be manifested some way.
mm-hmm.
And like I remember back when I was younger, because Des was saying about how Tommy is like a grounding effect, and she's feels. I tend to disagree with you, Des, but you feel as if you're a more chaotic effect on your daughter, and I have the same dynamic with my parents. As my mother is chronically unstable. She's better now than she ever has been, but I mean, she's in her early 60s now. So, I mean, she has finally, within the past few years, gone to therapy, and she's on medication, and, she's actually taking the steps to go and make herself better. And my father, on the other hand, he's just been that grounding force for me. But on the same side, like I said to you in the chat before I came on, Des, is that I think that I would be good on this panel today, because I'm coming at it from a perspective of, not only am I uh, the child I'm the adult child of someone with mental health issues. I have mental health issues of my own, and for years, her and I have gone back and forth, and it wasn't until I had a therapist a few years back that I love her, but she didn't take my insurance anymore, and she helped me come to realize that because of my mother's issues, she's not capable of loving me the way she would like to love me. She's not capable of feeling that. So I can't expect that from her. And that was so liberating. Just once I came to terms with that I can't expect my mother to love me the way that, society would say that a mother's supposed to love their child. And it helped me get healthier, just from going and taking that extra step, between her and I.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I put one of my sons in therapy. Part of it was because of the abuse we all suffered at the hands of my ex-husband, but also because he had a lot of anger towards what I was going through. But unfortunately, I had two boys who the therapist said he sat there and he refused to talk. I mean, that happens,
It does.
All I could do was give him, he went maybe 4 or 5 sessions. He never said a word, but he heard her. So my hope is now, and right now at this point in my life, neither one of my sons talk to me. I have a 30-year-old and I have a 26-year-old. Neither one of them talk to me. And there's no communication. So I really don't know why they don't talk to me. And, I don't know, but that's another issue that I deal with,
Right.
That's a hard one right now. And that just came about, I don't know, last year. So, to be able to survive that was a really hard one. But I will tell you that happened after Rob and I had started YouTube. YouTube has been a very big blessing for me, because I call it verbal release therapy, what I do when I go online at night with Rob. And just talking to people. I don't have to talk specifically about that issue, but just talking to people and laughing, having a good time has helped me so much. It's helped me get through the holidays. It's helped me get through all of that without having my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like for me, I worry that when my daughter becomes an adult, that she is going to never speak to me again. So I'm working really hard at trying to build that relationship. I mean, I love my children. I love my children with everything that I am. I will take a bullet for them. I will die protecting my children. And there are times where I feel like I'm not giving them enough
Hi,
love,
Abby.
but it's hard for me to do the cuddles and all that, because it's hard for me at times.
I'm
And
I'm right there with you, Des.
and there
I'm not a touchy person. I don't like to be hugged and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I'm that way with my. Not that I never hugged my children. Please don't think that. But I
right.
was not. I wasn't one that would crawl in the bed and cuddle and all that kind of stuff. I just couldn't do it, and it was not
Yeah.
for not loving my children. It's
Right.
just, I would rather sit on the side of the bed and read them a story, and and I'm still there. I'm just not that same affection.
Right. And that's the thing, I mean, my son's the same way I am. He's not a big touchy feely, let's hug stuff. But at the same time, when I meet somebody, I am a hugger. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense to me on why I can do something this way and not do it that way, and why I can only do it once in a while and not all the time. And there's a lot of times that, like, I just need to be by myself for a few minutes to, like, be able to breathe,
Mhm.
and because I feel like I'm being closed in.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. And like I said, I would do anything for my children. I
Mhm.
love my children. I make sure they have what they need. I try to make sure that they have their wants, but sometimes that's a little hard to do with some of the things that are out there nowadays, but I always want my kids to know that I love them no matter what. And, I'm hoping that one day they'll be able to realize how hard things are with the way my brain thinks, and because the way that my brain thinks and the way that my heart feels are two different things.
Yeah, I think you're doing everything right, Des. All you can do is do your very best and know that you're doing your best. And how I've resolved it with myself is that I know that I was not a perfect mother, but I did at the time what I thought needed to be done. I was always there for my children. I love them, without any limits, unconditionally, no matter what. And I raised them to be good men. And they have, both of them have good jobs. They seem to have good relationships with the girls that are in their lives. I have to turn it over to God and say,
Yep.
you take it from here. And if it's right, I'm here. I'm always going to be here, but I can't spend my life worrying
Yes, I do.
about whether or not they're going to call today, because I will drive myself. I will go off the deep end if every day I'm sitting here staring at my phone, waiting for them to call me. So
Mhm.
I just have to turn it over to God and say, take care of them. And hopefully, I'll hear from him soon.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you really can do,
And trust in the fact that you did right. Like you said, you're
yeah.
doing everything right. You just have to trust yourself and hope that when they get to be old enough, and I think my children do know, that we all make mistakes. There is no such thing as a perfect parent. None of us are. None of us had perfect parents. Um, and
That's
we
my
have
biggest fear right now.
you have to forgive yourself. I've forgiven my parents so many times for things that I thought, I can't believe they did. Now I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how my parents did as much as they did for me over the years,
Yeah.
And I hope my kids get.
Did she freeze?
I think she froze.
Oh no.
Oh,
Lisa, come back.
Right?
I know that was so perfect.
Yeah, it was, and then it just
To
went,
back froze. I'm back. I'm sorry.
welcome back.
No,
You got
you
so
just
tense that you melted the internet.
yes. I mean, it's just truth. You just have to trust in yourself that you've done the best you can possibly do. And you can't blame yourself. You can't blame yourself, because we can only raise them to a point. The people they become after they become adults, we have no control over.
Right.
But that's exactly where I am right now, is that Jeremy had some Jeremy is starting to have some mental health issues with depression and things like that.
Mhm.
And he was actually, he had to be hospitalized a year ago. And I have fought this whole year just blaming myself for the way that I raised him. I wasn't medicated in the beginning, or wasn't medicated until a couple years ago. The dissociation of me not even knowing some things, I can't even remember parts of, he'll tell me, oh, you did this, or this happened when we, as far as like, oh, I would yell at him for small things or whatever, which I know is completely feasible because of the BPD and the reactivity. But I don't remember these things because of dissociation. There's huge blocks I have, for my entire life. But I am so worried, number one, that my mental health has affected his. Number two, that my genetics have totally, allowed him to have depression and all this. But I think that my biggest fear is that he's 17, he's going to graduate this year. And after he moves out of this house, will he still want to have the relationship with me? When growing up, I was the opposite, of what you guys are saying. He was the only person I would touch. Like, we got love, we got snuggled, everything like that. But I worry that wasn't enough. Like, now that he's getting older and back, yeah, mom cuddled me and we watched our favorite movies or whatever, but she also screamed at me because I lost a pair of glasses, or she, flipped out on me because I couldn't do something she expected me to do. I'm so scared,
Yeah.
honestly.
That's it. I totally get that. I totally understand.
If I may interject for a moment, Lisa, just coming from a perspective of a child of a parent whom was very similar to that, you cannot hold that over your head, because that's not going to help you and it's not going to help him. And it's certainly not going to help your relationship with him, because that guilt or that doubt or that whatever that negative emotion is that you're holding on to in concern for that, is you got to rip it out and throw it away, because that's just going to rot and it's going to fester, instead of doing what it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Lisa, it's like you want it so badly, so allow it to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There you go, Lisa. Tracy sent, I'm sure you've seen it already. I'm going to hug you tight one day, Lisa.
You got to catch me first, Tracy.
So Tommy and I were watching, I'm sure most of you know who Kevin Hart is, the comedian.
Mhm.
Okay, let me make sure I'm on. Okay. And at the end of the series that we were watching, he had said this. I had it scrolling before, but it was going way too fast. And I really liked the quote. And so he said, when you are okay with being flawed, that means you can be fixed. And I know it's going to mean different things for different people. But for me, it was a great eye opener into his life and the things that he deals with outside of being the comedian, and I'm trying to think of what the show's called that we watched. It's Kevin Hart. Don't F this up, I think is what it's called. It's on Netflix. So if you guys get a chance, go watch it. It's really awesome. Um, he opens up about a lot of things that I had no idea that were going on in his life, and it helped me in a sense to know that he's a celebrity and he's dealing with this stuff. And granted, it's not the same exact thing that I'm going through, but I was able to um, relate to some of the things that he was talking about and the things that he went through. So it's a really good movie or series on Netflix. Check it out. Um, and then there was something else real quick that I wanted to say, and again, my squirrel decided to take off on me.
No, that's fine. But when you bringing up Kevin Hart, that's another thing that society has now just has decided that mental health is not a stigma the same way it used to be. And the more people that speak out, the easier it makes everyone be able to speak out and say, yes, I've had those issues. Even now, I will tell you, when I went through my issues, my mom was my rock. My mom came in, she moved in with us. She took care of my kids when I was non-functional, or that I don't know what they would have done because I literally couldn't get out of bed for days. So, and my mom was one of those in the beginning who was a snap out of it kind of person, because that's she's 82. At her generation, that's kind of what they were always, just snap out of it. You'll be okay. Now at 82, she says to me, looking back, because she was a Navy wife, so she was left home a lot with kids. She said, I think I probably was depressed. And she said, I think I probably had issues. And for her to go from where she was when I first started having issues to now where she's at now, I think it's amazing, and that just goes to show that no matter what your age is, I think mental health issues have been around. So of course they have, but people just didn't talk about them. You didn't, that was not,
It
you
was
didn't want
taboo.
anybody to think there was something wrong with you.
Yeah, it was taboo, and a lot of
Right.
times, from doing the research that I've been doing to try to better myself, to better educate myself with mental health and stuff. Um, Back in the 1900s, they were putting people in psychiatric wards
Oh, sure.
for eh, eh, for the craziest things. Or there are houses out there that have rooms
Mhm.
that they would put a family member in who had mental health issues, and they would lock them in there,
Mhm.
and all they would do was feed them, make sure they had water, make sure they had, you
Mhm.
know, where they can go to the bathroom and everything, and that's where they left them. People with mental illness were not allowed out in everyday public because they didn't quite understand what was going on,
Mhm.
like the medical field and stuff like that didn't really know what was going on or how to deal with it, and so it was a very taboo. We don't talk about this.
And look
You
at the
have
treatments. Look at the
oh,
treatments, Des, that they used to do.
shock
Barbaric.
therapy.
Yeah.
Shock therapy. They did
Do you know what one of them one they used to do? And I'm not
lobotomy, or I
well, I'm
think
not
that's what.
trying to get off color. Do you know that they would actually again, I'm not trying to be dirty on this show, but they would actually masturbate women
Yep, because they
because
felt that it
that would
would take
calm
away.
hysteria.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where that all comes from.
Yep.
Doctors would actually do that, which is actually sexually violating you. That's
Yep.
what they would do for women. That was a treatment. They would strap them down and masturbate them till orgasm, and that was treatment.
Yep. It's crazy the things that they did back then, and um, they would remove. They would go in and they would surgically remove a part of your brain
Sure. Yeah.
that they thought was causing the craziness. And then
Mhm.
a lot of times, people were vegetables, and because they cut too much or they did this or that, and so it was a scary thing back then. And now for us to be able to go out and be on YouTube and open up about our mental health struggles, we have come a long way.
Mhm.
And I actually follow, I don't know if a lot of you know who he is. I'm just waiting for my YouTube to let me. I keep getting kicked out of my actual YouTube account, and I messaged them to figure out what's going on, and they haven't responded. But his name is Russell. He's an actor. He was married to Katy Perry. If anybody,
Russell Brand.
yes, he talks about mental health on his YouTube.
Well, I applaud David for being here because
Yes.
a lot of men don't talk about it. And Chris, old school picker, I notice he comes in here a lot, and he has been very open with some of his issues, and I applaud Chris for that, because I still think it's harder for men to come forward and talk about it than it is women. So,
Yeah.
David, thank
I
you so
have,
much.
yes,
No
thank
problem,
you
Lisa.
so
Yeah.
much for joining us. It's
No, that's okay.
awesome.
No, I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I was diagnosed with it of October last year. Mine is work related. I see me working in a nursing home. I
Yes.
see a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So that, and when I started working in the nursing home, I was only 17, and I was really seeing death even then, and I've seen bodies being carried out, and I've helped undertakers carry bodies out through the front door of my work. So that there, it's been a build up for me, and then it got to a certain stage, it got out of control, and then I had to go and speak to somebody about it. But now I find, since Tracy touched on this early on, I find YouTube's been a blessing to me, and yous are all like a second family to me. So I find coming on, talking to yourselves, or like I was saying, Lisa, doing my travel vlogs, it's given me something else to think about, as well. So that's what's happened with me. But I've got myself sorted out now, and I know I'll never be 100% perfect, but I'm a lot better now than what I was in October last year.
And that's all we can hope for, is to be better.
Yeah.
We all know what it was when we're at our worst. We've all seen ourselves at the worst.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, when I get up, I tell Rob this all the time. Mine is chronic. So every day when I wake up, it's a fight. I have a choice. I can stay in bed, or I can put my feet on the floor. And every day I make a decision, and I make a decision to get up. And if I get up out of that bed, I feel like I've won, because that means I got up. And no matter how much or how little I do that day, it's still a victory, because I got my butt out of bed. So that's kind of how I like to look at it for myself. And some days I'm not as productive as I'd like to be, but I know what it was like to not be able to get out of the bed. So that's what I say, don't beat yourself up if you have kind of not bad days, but kind of middle of the road days. At least you got out of the bed. At least you tried.
Absolutely.
Put some clothes on, brush your hair. I mean, some days I don't even brush my hair. I'll just be honest with y'all. So, but I got out of bed. So that's a victory.
I cut my hair short because I got sick of brushing my hair. I wash it. I love my shampoo and conditioner that I have. And so a lot of times all I got to do is just run my fingers through my hair and I'm good. Because I know that if I go to brush my hair or style it or do whatever I need to do with it, I am going to have a bad day because my hair does not like to cooperate.
Should you all can get a haircut like me?
Yes, we all should. There we go. That would take
Hold on. I'm going to get my hair cut even shorter so I
saw
can
you
wear
with your
this. So I can wear this. And yeah, we got the wigs from a wholesaler. I have a white one as well, but the white one is super long and it's like really, really white. It's like Snow White. And so I put some pictures up on Instagram. I was playing with color because I know that because I'm a natural redhead. I'm a darker it's a darker red, but I like the bright red, so I started dyeing my hair bright red. Well, I have gray that likes to peekaboo through a couple weeks after I dye my hair, and so I get really like when I see the gray. Because I have a streak. I have a streak. It's from my past, and so when I see that, it triggers my anxiety. It triggers my PTSD. It triggers all the things that are involved with my mental health. And so I dye my hair a lot. And my hair's starting to get thin and it's growing faster and I just got a cut. But all in all, I do that so that I don't have to see it. So I can work through it. And eventually I know I'm going to have to stop dyeing my hair and face it, but I'm just not ready. Oh,
no, Rob's mom is 86 and she still dyes her hair. It's a nice, beautiful brown. And at 86, she still does it, Des. So Keep going.
Yeah, I want my hair. I don't want the like salt and pepper look. I want my hair like my nana's and my grandma's. Because I have one. My nana's the one that passed away, but they had snow white hair,
Mm-hmm.
and people pay to have that done. I'm just not gutsy yet to shave my head bald and start over. I just really am not. So I've always had long hair, so it's a bit to get used to having short hair. And my Mr. Pickles is going insane over there.
Oh, is it?
Anybody who suffers with mental health needs to get yourself a support animal.
Yes, that's my dog. I got a dog, and honestly, I told Rob I needed one, and he didn't understand, and I got her anyway, which caused issues with us. But now he's in love with her, so it
Yeah.
all worked out through the end. But I agree, animals do bring a lot of joy.
Okay, what is going on YouTube? YouTube is Sales. I put the StreamYard link back in if you'd like to jump back in. For some reason, I guess people are getting kicked out of chat. People are getting as Darlene Norgasar would say, the devil is in the machine. He doesn't want us talking about this. So yeah, I know it's a music group, but people don't. Maybe that's what's going on. The devil doesn't want us to bring to light what we're talking about, and well, too darn bad because we're going to talk about it anyway. Bring it.
Here, Des, did you see the video I put out recently? I thought you'd like to watch it. My first travel vlog.
Is that where you went to the Titanic Museum? Yes.
Yeah, Lisa, yeah.
Not, but I have it up, so I'm going to watch it after this live, and I'm going to put the link in chat for other people to see.
I thought especially you would like it as well, because your family history from over here. I thought you would like it, and I remember Lisa saying she would watch it. Yeah, where I was standing at the back, that's where the Titanic was sitting before it launched. That was the dry dock, it was called. You heard me saying in my video. Where I was standing, that's where it was sitting in 1911.
Oh wow!
Come on, David. I want to see you do the thing up there on the front.
Hold on. Change my hair color to blonde and look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's not that far of reach, honestly.
Oh, that's great. Okay, see now I just all right. It's being sassy. Give me 1 second, please. All right, all right, here we go.
Lighting up. I guess that's a good thing, right, Tommy?
I think it's the other way around. I think Tommy is Tracy's support animal.
I don't know. He said I'm lighting up.
Oh.
Okay. There we go. I finally was able to put your link to that video in chat. Oh, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Crazy. Let's see.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. A lot of history behind it, and I couldn't believe, I was standing right where the Titanic was sitting before it launched. It was just unbelievable.
And I'm very intrigued with the Titanic. I really am, and the things that those people went through. I mean, it's devastating. Mm-hmm. It really is.
There was 68% of people passed away on the ship and when it sank, and then there's only 32% survived. Over 1,500 passed away.
Oh wow!
So it did. So it was and you should see some of the ages. I was looking on a touch screen, computer screen, and you're able to go down and see all the people's names and their age and what country of origin they were from. And there's a lot of people 16, 17, 22, and there were people not only just from Northern Ireland, but there was people from Syria, Lebanon, America, everywhere, all over the world that were going to go on that ship. And at the end of that video, you'll see me go on to a ship called the Nomadic. That ship was used as a taxi type of service to get people onto the Titanic. It was down at County Cork, which is at the very bottom of Ireland, and the Titanic couldn't get round the side because it was only about that much space, and it was used as a taxi to get people onto the Titanic, where it was going to make its last voyage. sadly on its way to New York. So that's what that ship was about. That ship was also used during the First World War and Second World War. You'll see pictures of me taking pictures of U.S. Army ammunition boxes and stuff. That ship was used during the First World War and Second World War as well.
Oh,
So a lot
that's
of history
awesome.
down there, and it's been a great thing for Northern Ireland having an exhibition like museum centre there, because it's opened us up to the world now. Whereas maybe 15, 20 years ago, no one would have known about it, but now it's worldwide now, it's everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I mean, if you think about it, um, back then, all those passengers that did survive, they had survivor's guilt, PTSD. I'm sure they were terrified of the water. I mean, that
Right.
that is a big thing with mental health, going through something like that, and like Wednesday, I'm going to drop a video on PTSD, explaining a little bit about it, explaining things that happens with me when I'm have a PTSD moment, um, and how it affects me and everything. And so with that, um, you know, people who have PTSD, I mean, any type of trauma causes PTSD. And so I can just imagine what they went through after surviving.
Yeah,
Well,
like when we were standing in the museum, like you were being just shown around. Now I couldn't take any pictures of film due to copyright, but we were being told, I'm sure from the movie, there wasn't enough boats to get people off the ship, and that was a big thing as
Right.
well. And also as well, before the Titanic hit the iceberg, the captain decided to go to bed for sleep, and he ignored the warning calls from the lookout at the top that said there was an iceberg ahead. And they said the impact was quicker than it took 68 seconds for the Titanic to launch from the dry dock. It took 32 seconds for it to impact on the iceberg, so it was even quicker. So there was no time at all. They had no time, to
Wow.
avoid it.
well, Does think about all the disasters that happen now, and
Mhm.
all the school shootings, all the kind of stuff that's going now. Look at all the kids that are affected with PTSD.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
what I worry about, is that there's not enough good treatment out there where people are getting the treatment that they need. Because I just think the world is just the way the world's going everywhere. I mean, look at the fires in Australia. You can get PTSD over that. I mean, look, the people that are down there that are losing their homes and everything like that. I mean, there's so many things. Any kind of traumatic event can cause
Mhm.
PTSD. So you're right
Yeah,
about
it's
that. I worry about the mental health of the world, the way that
right.
we're going.
And did you guys know too that animals can have PTSD? A lot
Oh,
of people do.
yeah,
No,
I'm sure. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
I
when
didn't know that. No.
Yep. Mr. Pickles actually, he has hear him. He knows I'm talking about him. He actually has some PTSD, and we believe because he took a shower with Tommy, I think 2 weeks ago or something like that now. And we found all sorts of scars on his chest and under his wings and on his wings, which we didn't know were there when we got him, which even if I would have known, I still would have taken him because I absolutely love him so much. Like he is another child for me. But anyway, what we've learned, or what Tommy explained to me, is so, and the timeline makes sense, is people get birds, parrots, and they breed them. Okay. And what they do is they put them in a garbage can with the lid on and force them to breed. They do this until the bird is about 5 years old. Once the bird turns five, they have no use for them. And the people that we got Mr. Pickles from picked him up for $50 with his cage. They just got rid of him. It's a normal I wish Tommy was here um, to help me explain this. But he has a problem with garbage cans. He has a problem with the kitchen. He has problems with brooms, anything with a handle. Um, and so when the people that we got him, they kind of put him in a back room with another bird in a separate cage, and they kind of just fed him and gave him his water, and that was it. He was never worked with. So we started noticing that, we would bring the garbage can in the living room so that we could throw things away. He would freak out. Like he would spaz big time. Um, and I would bring the broom in. He would freak out. I tried to get him in he would sit on my shoulder and I'd walk into the kitchen and he would lose it. And I was like, so I looked it up. I'm like, well, can animals have PTSD? And sure enough, they can. Dogs who have been used for dog fighting have PTSD. And I'll talk more about this on Wednesday. But the scars that Mr. Pickles has are the scars that are normally found on birds who are in that situation. And so he is my support animal, but at the same time, I'm his support human. We are healing together, and we have the same exact scar going down our front of our bodies. And so I think it was meant to be. But anybody who's out there that suffers with any form of mental health um, issues, get a support animal. Get a support animal. They will change your life so much. So much. And okay, sorry. My brain just stopped working. See, my brain gave me the silent treatment.
Oh, that's funny. That's cute.
Let's see if I can give it. My brain is giving me the. I can't. I gotta stand up now. Ugh. If I can fall. See, my brain is giving me the silent treatment today. So it decided to shut off on me. So anybody who knows me knows that if I'm talking about something and then all of a sudden my brain stops, I'm like, I don't remember what I was saying. Glorious Ways, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Mr. Pickles loves watching Tommy and Tracy. He has radar. Like, I don't know what it is. Like he will.
I think Tommy's answered that already.
I don't. Well, yeah, but it's like I don't know. It's weird to explain because like he knows when they go live. I don't even have to have my computer on, my phone on, nothing. He will. He makes a certain noise, and I'm like, oh, Tommy and Tracy must be on. And I'll get the notification, and then I have to come to my computer and turn it on for him so he can hear them. And at night, it's
funny.
Yeah, he's got his favorite YouTubers. He really does have his favorite YouTubers. And it's so funny sometimes how he acts when when I don't have them on my screen. He's a YouTube junkie. He really is.
I'm finding that I'm a YouTube junkie myself over the past 24 to 48 hours. It's been like a therapy for me, kind of like what Lisa was saying, and that just being in the headspace that I've been in, being able to get out and interact with people I wasn't going to miss this live stream for the life of me, because I knew that usually on the weekends, Des, I'm not available. So I wanted to take advantage of it while I could. And I want to say thank you for having me on. And I'm sorry, guys, about the background noise.
That's all right. I mean, you muted, so It happens to the best of us. When we first started, I know, like when I first started, I didn't realize that the background noise could be picked up, and yeah, the kids were watching cartoons really loud, and yeah, my computer was really bad, so it was already glitchy on top of everything. So, um, you know, you'll get the hang of it. You'll
Well,
get
yeah.
the hang of it. The more you do it, the easier it gets. You still may have the nerve thing where your stomach wants to do little circles, but you'll get it. You really will. And I've been on for a little over a year, and I'm still learning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, new stuff comes out all the time.
Oh yeah, and
That's
then when
one
the
thing.
rules change, you gotta brush up on that.
Technology is always changing. That's the one thing that
Mhm.
you can never keep up on, or I can't. I've given up on it. I just say, Rob, that's your department. Just make sure everything works. That's
That's
the
what I do
beauty
with
of
Tommy.
that's the beauty of having a partner with it. I just turn, and then if it doesn't, I hashtag blame Rob. Rob's fault. So there you go.
Same here. Tommy's the tech person. When
Mhm.
I touch electronics, 9 times out of 10 they don't work for me. I My truck. Now I know I talked about this before. I just don't remember where I talked about it. My truck. I'll go and start it, and my digital dash for the miles and stuff never lights up. Never lights up. Tommy can get into my truck, turn the key, start the truck, and it turns on. I'm convinced that my beast of a truck doesn't want me to know how many miles is on her because she never wants to show me. And she's my baby. I mean, she's a big truck. She's a 2000 Expedition, third
Mhm.
row seating. People in my town kind of look at me funny when I'm driving her because she's a big truck and I'm 5 foot even. And so there's this little itty bitty girl driving this big old truck, and I love my truck. I
That
absolutely
was
love
my
my truck.
mom, Des. When I was growing up, my dad had a 1978 Ford Bronco, the big one, not the small one,
Mhm.
and it was yellow and black. So it had paneling. He bought it off the showroom floor. It had everything on it, and it was huge. And my mom is 5'2", and she would get behind that thing, and you think she was in a semi. She'd be like, "Get the hell out of my way! I'm going to run you over." It just went through her head. I used to tell her all the time, Mom, but she loved it. That was her thing. We had a small car, but she always drove the truck.
Yeah, I like big
Mhm.
trucks. Like we have this thing every year. It's automotion, okay, and it's cars. It's vintage cars. It's newer vehicles. It is my favorite time of year. Last year we couldn't go, um, and I'm trying to remember. It was around the time my whole spleen thing happened. Like yeah, I think it was. I think it was around then because they change the dates in May every year, so I can never remember exactly why we weren't there last year. But it is my favorite time of year, and I have a big truck now that I can go driving through automotion, blurring smokestack from the Lex. The first time Tommy ever took me to automotion, I almost crashed his truck. I'd never been to one before, so I had no idea what it was about.
And
So you
that's
want to
why
go
the
to
truck doesn't start for you.
That's
no
right.
wrong truck, wrong truck.
Oh,
Um,
different?
it was a different truck. It was a different truck. Or different. Yeah, it was a different truck. Well, his truck has been on fire because he's got a '96 Ford Explorer. It's been on fire, and we're talking like 2 foot flames in the front, and she runs better now than she did before the fire. And yeah, it I've taken the mirror off backing up on the passenger side, and granted I just popped it off when I hit the basketball hoop. um
Now, I just need to ask you, does he let you drive that truck now?
oh yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I would be banned from it. I don't think Rob would want me to get in his car if
I
I
didn't start the fire.
I got you, got you.
I didn't start the fire. The fire we literally were in the house when the fire started outside because he
Wow.
had a this thing to keep the motor warm or to keep the battery charged. I can't think of what it's called. Oi.
The alternator?
No, it's not the alternator. It's an external box that you put
Like a
in.
jumper box?
Kinda. Oh, I wish I knew what the heck it was called. And I usually know what it's called. And we had it plugged into an extension cord and out into the truck or out into the garage. Well, snow got somehow in there or was defaulty and the whole thing just went up.
Wow.
And so I have pictures of the truck actually that I saved, and it was like you look at the truck now, you would never believe that the whole front end was gone. But we got the fire out, right? We still called the fire department, got the fire out. He puts the key in the ignition, all right? And she cranks over and he moves it out of the way because it was between our house and our camper that we had on the other side of the driveway. And so he puts the key in, turns it over. It starts. He's able to move the truck back away from the house and the camper. And the battery, literally, the truck battery was like this. Like it melted down. How he was able to do that, I have no idea. But yeah, it was crazy. I ended up in the ambulance because I ran outside in my nightgown and got cold and started hyperventilating and anxiety kicked in. And like it was a bad night. And I have pictures of the fire department, and it was still snowing when the fire department got there. And yeah, it was a crazy night. And I have, like, for me personally, I have two big fears because of my mental health. I have one where well, three actually. One is the house catching fire. Like I'm constantly feeling like the house is going to catch on fire. The other one is, so we have hardwood floors and our house is uneven. And so the kids and Tommy are always like jumping around, horsing around. And I have a big fear that we're going to fall through the floor. So that's my second fear. My third one is water. I don't like lakes, oceans, rivers. You won't catch me in the water if I can't see the bottom. If I can't see my feet, you don't see me any further in the water. Those are my three biggest fears. Do you guys have any type of fears like that due to your mental health stuff?
Mine isn't due to mental health. I've just always been terrified of snakes, which I think everybody knows that. And I'm not a big fan of heights. I've always had an issue with heights, but it hasn't kept me from, I mean, I've flown in an airplane before. I mean, I don't have any issues with that. But the only thing that I would say would be the biggest thing would be snakes. I just have a very big fear of them that I'm going to try and work on. I really am. But I have not, Brandon shows his snake. We've talked about snakes and I've had, y'all all know that stuff. So, but that's my goal is I am going to try to get better. I will never really want to be around one, but I don't want to have I have the kind that if I would go into a panic attack if I was around one, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able to be around one, and I don't want to touch it, but I don't want to have that irrational.
She froze again. She'll be back. Hello, Reseller King. Welcome. You back?
I'm back. Yes, I do tolerate Brandon's snake, but that's because it's in there and I know it's not anywhere near me. But the one day that he put it on the screen and I was looking over here and I didn't know and I turned around and it was there, I screamed because I mean, he had it right up against the camera and its tongue was flicking out there at me and I thought, oh my God, it's coming after me. that's irrational to scream at one that's right there when I know it can't do anything to me. But
Right.
that's how irrational it is.
It's crazy. What about you, David?
Yeah, I'm very similar to Lisa. I have a big fear of heights, and even I'm scared to go near water. If I'm in the back of a boat and it's moving, I can't go out the back and have a look. I have to stay inside.
Oh, wow.
I think as well another reason why that happens is I can't swim, and
Oh,
then the fear of water, then makes it even a lot more real to me, especially if I'm on a boat that's moving.
mhm.
But I'm the same as you, Lisa. Yeah, I've flown on airplanes. Like I've flown on a plane there last year from Northern Ireland here down to Portugal, and I was able to look out the window
Mhm.
and down below. But whereas the year before we went to Portugal, I couldn't have done that. Looked out the window, looked down because I would have maybe failed if I was going to be sick.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's
that when I can look out the window, I think that's an accomplishment. I always tell myself, well, first of all, I got on the plane, and second of all, I looked out the window. So good for you.
What about you, Alexis?
Well, I suppose, there are a lot of people out there that are afraid of spiders. I am petrified. Anything with 8 legs is not okay with me unless it's in the ocean and then it's dinner. And I have a terrible fear of close knit social situations. Like a big crowd doesn't bother me. Like I can go to a concert, that's not a big deal, because I can kind of just disappear into the crowd. But like small social gatherings where I'm forced to interact with people, that is super unnerving for me. Absolutely, 100%.
Wow. How about everybody in chat? Do you have, anybody who suffers from um, what we have and mental health stuff? Um, do you guys have any fears that you feel, well, I shouldn't be afraid of it, but I am and I can't explain it type thing? I do see that a couple people responded before when we were talking about it. Resell
Mhm.
King says, I am claustrophobic, very bad, scared of tight spaces. Yeah, and that's a really common one from what I'm gathering, doing research and everything. That's a really big one. And then Tracy says, I have an irrational fear of frogs and lizards. I can relate in that aspect. Um, Live frogs and lizards, as long as they're not out of a cage or in my face, I'm don't bring them near me. Fake ones, like yard ornaments. I love frog ornaments, but just don't bring me a frog. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm going to tell you, one of the most challenging things I ever had to do was one of my jobs. I was the manager of the gift store at a zoo, and we would get boxes and boxes of rubber snakes. And we had a tree. It was a fake tree, but they had in the gift shop, and it had a big opening, and that's where we would dump the boxes of snakes in there, so it looked like they were all coming out of the tree. And when we had to do inventory, I had to stick my arm in there and pull them all out to count them. That was the worst thing I've ever had to do in my life, was reach my hand in there, knowing those were just rubber snakes, but just the fact that they looked so real scared
Yeah.
me to death. That was one of the
Right.
hardest things I've ever. I almost considered quitting my job over having to reach my hand in there and pull out rubber snakes. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it to flip it says, um, at Alexis, same with me in a small social group, also heights, but I think that's just common sense. You know, I think everybody's got a little bit of a height type thing. Like Tommy, I'm giving out a secret again. Um, like he knows how to do roofing, okay? But he can't do any type of roofing on roofs that have a really peak like this, but he can do them if they're like this, but he can't do them like this, and he has a huge fear of heights, huge fear of heights. So I would never like ask him to fly somewhere with me, we would have to take a vehicle. I know he was talking about flying out to Vegas this month. So I maybe it's different. Maybe somebody explain to me if it's different when you're in a plane than when you're like on a roof or something or a high
I think
building.
in a plane, I mean, you feel safe, but on a roof, I mean, you can see you're physically right there, and you know one step and you could fall. In a plane, you know, yes, you know you could crash and die, but you know realistically, the statistics are very very low that that's going to happen, and it's not anything in your control. You've got a pilot there, you're in a seat, you got a seat belt, you know. But up
Mhm.
on a roof, I don't know that I could do that either. I mean, to me, that would be a hard one for me. I've never been up on a roof, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not a roof person either, but it's just I don't know. I would never ask him to go on a plane unless he chose to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I when I went on I've been on a plane a couple times, all times going to Florida. And so, because I'm originally from West Palm Beach, that's where I was born. And then my grandfather lived in Orlando, so we lived there for a while with my grandfather, and then we lived in Brooksville. I don't know if you know where Brooksville is, Lisa,
I
or not.
do.
Okay, so that's where we lived before we moved to Wisconsin. And so um, I've flown to Florida and back, and I think I've gotten pretty comfortable with that route. But I don't know how I would be going from like here to Vegas in a plane just because of my fear of people. I love people. Now, tell me if this makes sense. I absolutely love people, and I get moments where I need to be around people, but then when I get there, um I sorry, my brain just shut off for a minute. What was I saying?
That you love to be around people
Oh,
in the crowds.
yeah, see, and so my as you can tell, my anxiety is kind of starting to kick in a little bit. Um I love being around people, but when I get around those people, I have complete and utter anxiety attacks. Like when Tommy and I got together, I didn't leave the house unless it was to go to the doctor or the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I didn't leave my house. I didn't like leaving my house. I felt safe in my house. And now, um, I love being in my house. I feel safe in my house. And I go out and I'm doing more things now than I did before. But Tommy actually has helped me to face being in larger groups because, well, he's from Milwaukee and he has probably like 500, 600 friends that he hung out with before we got together. And so he's a very big social person. For me, I guess what I'm trying to say is there are times where I want to be still in the house and not go anywhere. Don't people can stay away, that kind of thing. But then there are moments where I have like anxiety attacks being in the house where I need to go out of the house. Like I need to get out of the house now. And the longer it takes for me to step outside of the house to go out and do something, the more my anxiety kicks in. Does that make sense?
I think so, because I mean, I think people are by nature social creatures. We want to have that interaction. And so I think there's something in us. But then we also have the issue where I have shared, I can go to Walmart, and just our local Walmart here, and I can have a panic attack for usually it's when Rob and I separate, because we always separate when we go into stores. Doesn't normally bother me in thrift stores because they're small and I can see him. But if we go into a store at Walmart size and we separate, there's times when I look up and I'm by myself, and all of a sudden I get the heart rate, I get covered in sweat, I get chills,
You
I
get
feel like I'm gonna
shaky.
pass out. And I'm like, oh my God, Lisa, you're in your friggin' Walmart. You're literally 8 miles from your house. Why is this happening? And there's nothing going on. I mean, there's nobody that's bothering me. It's just all of a sudden, I just feel, I don't know. I mean, and then that's the part of what we deal with, you know, you having
Yep.
panic attacks and anxiety attacks. But when Rob and I went to the concert, when we went on our date night, I had put off, he loves to go to concerts. I don't, because it's being around people in a very confined space. I never know when it might or might not happen. And the only concerts we've gone to are ones that are outside, open air. So we went to one that was in a confined space, but we had a great time. It wasn't because they were not, what are their tribute bands. So it wasn't a huge arena with thousands and thousands of people. There was a couple hundred people there, and I had a great time, and I want to go back, and I'd like to work on doing that because I know it's fun for him to do. And I feel that's another thing. I feel like I'm holding him back where he can't do some of the things he likes to do because I can't do them. You know, so I totally get it, Des. I mean, you know, you want to go out, but then when you get out, so you're talking, why the hell did I go out? I want to go back home, you know?
Yeah, let me go back in my shell. I just want to go curl up in my shell and be good and not have to worry. But I think, you know, for me, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't know exactly what direction it was going to be going in. And then back in May, when my spleen exploded and I almost died from it, um, I had to sit down and seriously think, hey, you're not a reseller. You're really not, you know some things, but that's not who you are. You need to find out who you are. And I struggle with mental health, and I'm like, so I was thinking about it, and I'm like, maybe I should do something on mental health. So Tommy actually spent a whole day with me, and nobody knew that I had I struggle with mental health issues. And so Tommy and I sat down, and he started typing in all the different things that I've been diagnosed with: the PTSD, anxiety, depression, you know, all these different things. Okay. And he was looking, and there was nobody talking about it. Like the way it affects them. We saw doctors and counselors and stuff like that, but there was nobody really truly out there that was explaining how they were feeling dealing with it. And so I was like, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. And so I did a live. I titled it "Coming Out of the Closet," which totally wasn't thinking that it was going to bring the questions out that were asked. Because it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain it. It came out, it was misconstrued. And so I was like, wait, um, okay, I guess. I ended up changing the title of it later on after I was done doing my live. But Tommy was like, it's kind of like clickbait, but you really are coming out of the closet, just not in the way that people are thinking, you know? And so I did. I did a live, and I was really hesitant at first to do the live. But I had people like Tommy Bernard, and I hope I said your last name right, Tommy. I had my Tommy, I had Tracy, uniquely me, I had, you know, Darlene Norgus R and Tracy, just living my life. And, you know, I had a group of people that were like, you can do this. You can do this. And I was like, can I do this? And so it took some courage. It took me fighting myself to hit that live button. And I hit live, and then I just kind of spewed out of my mouth why and how and who and what, the things that I was dealing with. And it was such an amazing response, me just coming out and saying, "Hey, I have mental health issues. Come join me. This is what I deal with." And then I stopped. I did a couple videos, a couple lives talking about the things I was struggling with, and I stopped because my mental health just went, phew, I crashed. I hit rock bottom. And so, wait, what? What, Tommy?
He wants to use the coming out of the closet to get some views. He's being silly with you.
Oh, oh, jeez.
Tommy, don't do that. She was on a roll. Let her finish.
I was on a roll, and I was like, what title? What? Hold on, what? So anyway, see, that's like the second or third time he's made my squirrel hide. Sassy, Tommy, sassy. So yeah, so I hit the live button. I told everybody what was going on with me, and that it was such an amazing experience because I didn't realize how many other people were suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how many people I had supporting me. Now, when that whole spleen thing happened with me, I didn't know. I was a small channel. I probably had maybe 200 people. I had no idea that people knew who I was outside of the small group that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I go in and I would support people. I would say hello. I'd wish them, luck on their life, or I was always being supportive. And then when that happened, all of a sudden, everybody knew who I was coming out. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was worried that we were going to lose you. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. You know who I am? Whoa. So that right there and alone in itself helped me to realize that I am here for a reason. I may not fully know what that reason is, but I'm here. And so this is for everybody out there so they know, here I am. I don't hide nothing. I don't smoke screen anything. I 9 times out of 10 usually say the wrong thing. I read people's names wrong. I'm a complete mess. But I struggle. I want to be there for other people, and helping other people is what I think I'm supposed to do. So here we are. And then I have amazing people like both you, Lisa, the other Lisa, Alexis, David. I had Swamp Picker on that jumped on last week. I have all these people in chat. I have all these people on my panel, and we need to support each other. We really do.
I have a question
Go ahead.
for either the chat or for the panel. Something that I have been struggling with, and I feel comfortable saying this because it's not on my own channel, and I know that particular people aren't going to see it, is that what do you do with someone that you love dearly, and who in all senses of the word loves you dearly, but is struggling to be supportive of you? They want to be supportive, and they're working to be supportive, but they're so hurt and they're so damaged from years of pain that they don't know what to do with real love. Ouch.
I can tell you this, and I don't know your situation, But I have a family member who is very damaged in their own right. They have issues and that they deal with. And it got to a point where they would call me. And because I have always been the fixer in the family, people call me for their problems and everything. And it really got to the point where it affected me. It made me worse to talk to them. And my therapist said to me that I needed to have some separation for a while. And I needed to let them get healthy before I could have a relationship with them, because I hate to use the word toxic, because I mean they're not a bad person. They just had their own issues that they were dealing with, but because I was so involved with them, they became like that to me. I would actually go into issues myself after getting off the phone with them. And my doctor said I had to put myself first and keep myself healthy, because I wasn't good to anybody if I'm not healthy.
Right. Yeah. It feeds into codependency, right?
It can. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And again, and I don't know, but you know, it was my sister. I'll put it that way. It was my sister.
Mm-hmm.
We have no relationship now, but that's a whole nother issue. But at the time, you know, I was really struggling to keep myself on the, you know, good. And she was not seeing a doctor at the time. She was not taking medication. And I would listen to her, and she would just bring me so down, because I would get so upset of her situation that I took that on like my problems were her problems. And, you know, I never could get well. And my doctor said, you need to draw a line for a while and let her get healthy. And then you can try to have a relationship again. Doesn't mean you don't care, but you have to put some space in between you.
Right. So I like using analogies, and I'm hoping I'm calling it the right thing, because my brain is starting to start doing that true thing. So to me, what you're saying, it reminds me of a tornado. Okay. You have a beautiful day out. Okay. And then you have a cold front and a warm front, and they collide. And then a tornado produces, which is devastating. It's destructive. So you have to let them have their space. Let them get their act together. You do the same thing, because when two people have major issues and they come together, that's when abuse happens. And and a lot of times it's just, that's what you bring out in each other, and you end up with records, police records, stuff like that. So I would just say space, just like Lisa said, space. Give yourself time to work on things, and let them work on what they need to do, because there are times, no matter how much you love somebody, if you are toxic for each other, it's not going to work. And like, I just saw it in here, Tracy said, toxic to you doesn't mean they are toxic in general, which is a very good point, because some people just won't, they clash. They absolutely clash. And it's, no matter, love can't fix everything. You have to have a combination of things to make things work. Now, Lisa and I both, you know, we were very lucky to have the men that we have in our lives. Okay. But not everybody is blessed that way. And I know for me personally, it took a long time to find that right person that wasn't toxic to my mental health.
Right. And, you know, these are all things that you're saying that are validating what's already in my gut.
Mm-hmm. Listen to your gut.
And it's things that because of my mental health issues, I don't want to face. And I am the master of denial, so much so that I disassociate. and I lose time and I lose memories, like Lisa was saying. But it's difficult because I feel it's it's almost like the devil I know is better than the devil I don't.
Yeah,
That
but that's not a healthy way to think. And I know I understand why you think that way, but that just becomes that's okay. But I just I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but I just to say that I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that's a healthy way to think. I think you can get yourself into trouble with that, because that leads down to, like Des says, that can lead down to settling for relationships that aren't good for you. That can lead down to, like she said, to abuse, to settling for something less than what you deserve. And when you settle, you may be okay for a while, but you won't be for long. It'll all come out, and it usually is not a very nice thing when it does.
Yep, it's never a good thing. Tracy, uniquely me, says all toxic to me people or unsupportive people don't belong in my life, even not even in a small way. It is my mission this year to find people that build me up, not tear me down. Amen to that, because that is so true. You know, I am guilty of getting involved in and watching and trying to figure out what's going on with YouTube drama.
I got my popcorn bowl right here. Are you kidding? I'm like, this is popcorn time on there. I know, I hear you.
Yeah. So I can so completely relate to Tracy's mission for this year. My goal this year is to not let things outside of my control bother me.
Yeah.
Don't get involved in the YouTube drama. Yeah, it's nice to watch sometimes, but because I suffer personally from mental health, it affects me. So
Yes.
I can't sit there and be like, "Oh, did you see what so and so said, Tommy? Come on, let's go watch. Let's see what they're gonna respond to."
I'm laughing because I do that with Rob. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know. And so, I mean, I can't do it either. And so I completely agree with Tracy. Maybe everybody should make that goal. Don't let the dramas of the world tear you down. Hang out with people who are going to bring you on up. How does Tommy say, sing it? Moving on up from, he'll dance around.
From the Jeffersons. No, from the Jeffersons. I sing that to Rob all the time.
Yeah, Tommy does once in a while too. He'll go, moving on up, and he'll start dancing in the kitchen. And I'm like, all right. Oh, hey, Pat D's, welcome, aka Charlie. welcome, my friend. All right, let's see. The chat is going crazy, and I don't mean to be ignoring the chat in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to kind of scroll up and see if anybody else had any questions. If anybody has any questions, put them in chat. Make sure you put question marks in front and behind so we know that it's a question.
I have to go here, Des, but it was great speaking to you as well. I'm gonna be on Two Aussie Thrifters show later. I'm sure you all heard about it for the charity auction, so I'll be there.
Awesome. Can you drop a link to that? Is there a?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Let's see.
Now, are you auctioning off anything, or are you just going to be in the chat?
No, I'm going to be in the chat, but I'm also going to contribute to both Facebook pages.
Oh, okay. So, cool.
So,
I'll see you there then, David. I'm gonna try and stay up for the whole thing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's 9:30 p.m. UK time over here, so I'm gonna try and stay myself for as long as I can.
That would be
I'll be
4:30 our time.
Thank you.
So
Eastern, 4:30
I'll see.
Eastern.
Yeah, I'll see you all there. Thanks
So
very much for having me on, Des. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.
thank
And
you so much. Much love, David. Thank
yeah,
you so
yeah,
much
thank
for
you very
sharing.
much. And it's great that I'm so glad I got coming on here to speak to you all day. I feel a lot better for doing it, and I'm so glad that I have you all here as friends. I really do appreciate it. And anytime I need to speak to you, so I'll come on here again. So I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
you
you
all.
can. Yeah, I believe we're friends on Facebook too. So
We are,
just hit
yeah.
me up. So hit me up anytime if you need to chat.
And I'm glad
We
I'm
can.
glad I could call you all friends as well. So
Yeah, same
Well,
to
we
you,
are very
David.
blessed to have you in our life as well,
thank you
and
very
call
much.
you friend.
I'll see you
Much
all
love, my
later.
friend.
Thank you very much. Bye,
Yep.
everybody.
Bye,
Have a good
David.
day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we've been on for a little over 2 hours. I did
Yeah.
not realize that we were on for that long. It was just going and going and going. So okay, thank you. And to flip it, she said 3:30 for us because we're in Central.
Oh,
So
definitely. Yeah, it's 4:30 Eastern. Yep.
yeah,
That would be
so
right. Yep. So
awesome.
Des, just to speak on that, I think I'm going to have to go too because Rob's
Okay.
standing over there and he made lunch and he's going like this. So I think he's waiting for me to get off so we can eat together. So
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I think I'm
It was
gonna.
nice to meet you.
nice to meet you too, Alexis, and get to know you better. I mean, that's the whole thing. We got to know a lot
Yeah.
about each other. So,
Mhm.
and you're young. I'm old. Des is. She's not old, but I'm old. But just know that it can happen to any of us. I mean,
How
we've
old do
all.
you think I am?
I'd say 32.
I love you.
I was
so
gonna
love
say,
you.
yeah, I was gonna say 32 or 33.
Next month is my 40th birthday.
Oh, I wouldn't have
Bravo.
thought you were 40. See, I'm 51. I'm an older sister. There you go. There you go. But thank you all for
Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. And she froze, which I think that was.
Yeah, that's okay. But I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to tell you that I think what you're doing is wonderful. Rob and I talked about it, and I think it's such an important thing. We talked about maybe even doing a channel like this. So Rob's kind of a little bit, he's not as much of a sharer as I am. So I think it terrified him. So I'm so glad that you did. And, I hope to
She's
be
27.
on and be in chat and be
Yeah,
around.
you are more than welcome to jump in anytime I throw the link out there. I mean,
Sure.
that's what I want is
I appreciate that. I appreciate
because
that.
every day is different. And one week
Yep, I know.
my butt's vibrating.
All right. On that note, guys, I'm going to see y'all
Tony's got
later.
the music blaring. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. So
Thank you.
I want people to know that they can join us anytime. This is why I do the mental health chat open panel on Saturdays so that people can join and stuff like that and open up because each day is different, each week is different. And so I absolutely love Lisa and her hubby. They are amazing people. So make sure you guys are sub to them and watch them. They are hilarious. So with that, I think I'm going to end.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Alexis, for coming. Thank you for sharing. And I hope everybody has a beautiful Saturday. Much love to you all. And remember, you're not alone. We are here for you no matter what. And I do have my link, my email in the description. So if anybody needs anything, just email me and we will get face to face either on phone, Facebook, even on StreamYard. But all in all, have a wonderful day. Much love and stay happy. Bye.